I know this is gonna raise a lot of eyebrows because even I am like, what were you thinking when you made this decision? What was going on in your mind? How can you on earth think of doing something like this and going ahead with it? So it was the beginning of 2022 and I decided I need a place in Botswana so that when I come home I have a place to stay and also as an investment property. At this point, I had just moved back from Czech Republic and I was exhausted because I had just completed my training at the end of 2022. I go on Facebook at the beginning of 2023 and I look for construction companies and turnkey companies in particular because I had decided that I am not going to be dealing with builders on a day-to-day basis. I just need a company that does everything. I don't even want to go and buy materials and stuff. I want them to do everything and I will just pay them. So I look them up on Facebook and I come across this one that has a lot of followers and a lot of likes. And I visit them. They have an office in the city center. I visit them in the city center. They show me all the projects that they have built. They show me their price ranges. You know, if you want this kind of house, this is the estimation of what we are going to charge you and stuff. And this one in particular, there was a 2 bedrooms that they built somewhere in Jwaneng. I say, this is the one that I want. It's within my budget. And they say, okay, fine. We actually also have our own architects. And you are so lucky because we are going to take a plan. We're going to make a plan for you and we'll take it to the city council for approval, which is needed in Gaborone. We're going to take it to the city council for approval. And once it's approved, we're going to start the building. I am happy. I go home. The next morning, I wake up and the construction company owner sends me all this, you know, the contract actually. He sends me the contract. He says, this is a contract, go through it and, you know, ask me any questions you have and put your signature down. I go through the contract and now looking back, I realized the contract only had mentioned that I'm building a 2-bed, no dimensions, no plan was put on the contract. What kind of house was I building? Yeah, it was too vague. Okay, so anyway, I'm in a rush to build because they told me the house is going to take 2 months. The sooner we start, the better. They are in a rush and I'm not suspecting anything because I'm also in a rush. I say, this is excellent service, you know. Especially for our continent. If people are that fast, you're like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't expect it to be this way. So I go through the contract, you know, not really intensely, but I just go through it. It was quite a short contract, 3 pages or something like that. I go through it and I tell him, let's meet up again in Gaborone and I'm going to be paying you. I don't know if we met. I think we met again, for me to give him the contract that's signed. And then I go to the bank and I do the transfer. I transfer him all the money that he said he wanted from the foundation up until roofing. Yes, he said he's going to do roofing and plastering. The shell of the house is going to be done and I'll only be left with furnishings. Flies, oh my goodness, the embarrassment. Guys, my house is not complete, so there's a lot going on. And where was I? I was talking about transferring the money. Yes, I go to the bank and I transfer all the money. And I remember the bank assistant saying to me, who are you transferring money to? And such amount of money. I said, well, it's a construction company. They are turnkey. And I say their name because they're quite popular on Facebook. And she says, but couldn't you pay them like in stages? I said, well, you know, I'm afraid I might end up using the money and anyway, I'm sending all the money because I said this is a registered company. They have an office. I mean, how many construction companies do you see working like that? Okay, with a whole office, with secretaries and blah, 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 blah. And then the work starts. Okay, they had even gone to the place where they get plans, because I didn't remember where my plot was. I bought it in 2015 when I was still working as an intern in Gaborone, before I moved back to Czech. And I say, I don't know where my plot is. Say, no problem, give me the number. I'm going to get the plan of the area from this office. I forgot the name, somewhere in Gaborone again. So they have all the plans of the area of the city and blah. So I give him the plot number, he gets the plan, he locates my plot, and he says, this is your plot and we're gonna start right away. They start right away, and I am at home. By the way, I have decided I'm not going to be coming to Gaborone every day, so I'm going to be with my parents and in our small town. I'm going to be there, and I'm not going to be coming to Gaborone every day because I am exhausted. This was the first thing that should have told me that you cannot build right now. I was exhausted. I did not have the emotional resources to deal with building at that point. And yeah, I just did not have the energy to deal with anything after dealing with my residency training, which is a whole other story on its own that I will talk about later in this channel. So they start, and when they start, I have a neighbor. The neighbor calls me the next morning. He says, oh, I see that you started building. And I said, yes. And he says, yeah, there are, if you guys here, they've started digging. I think they're starting the foundation, but I don't see any reinforcement on the ground. I don't know what those wires are called, but there are some wires that are put in this thing after you dig the foundation. He says, I don't see any reinforcement, and I'm scared that they might start building or start the foundation or do the foundation without reinforcement. You need to come here right away. He's calling me at 6 or something. So I rush to Gaborone. I get here in the morning at 7, and I immediately say to them, where is the reinforcement? They had already started, I think they had already finished digging. At this point, they were already laying bricks, and I don't see any wire anywhere. It was just like too fast, too haphazard. I call the construction company owner, and he says, you know what, you need to relax, leave everything to us, and I will call those guys, the builders, right away and ask them, you know, what's going on and why there's no reinforcement. But even if it's not there, don't worry, we are taking it to them right away. By the way, when this guy speaks, he was so cool, calm, collected, and my mother was even saying, I think this is a trustworthy person. You know, listen to how he's talking. He is so nice. And at this point, I'm wondering, this guy explains way too much. You know, I'm expecting him to just tell me I'm bringing something there. But the way that he was talking, it was as if he's trying to tell me that he's a good person. And if somebody's doing that, you are wondering why. Okay. So anyway, I go back home. And then the next day again, I hear, there's still no reinforcement. This is the neighbor. You need to come right away. I get here and I tell the owner of the company, I said, I don't think we need to be working together now. I think you guys are going to have to stop immediately. And I will have to find somebody else. And you need to refund me. And immediately he goes again on a whole 1 hour long rant telling me, no need to worry, you don't need to be meddling into the building stuff. I'm so educated. I don't know what he said he is. Anyway, he told me how educated he is and all that, and that I don't need to be involved in the building. It's a 10 key. I don't need to come to the site all the time. At this point, I'm getting concerned. And I have a friend, I came with a friend, and she says, if the way this guy is doing things, I think you need to be stern and end it right here before things get bad. And I'm thinking, well, you know, this is a legit company. How can they mess my things up? They have a reputation to uphold. They have offices. They have contracts. So that means he understands something about the law. So there's no way that he's gonna steal from me, right? Yeah, he's telling me he's educated. Maybe I should just give them another try. They finish the foundation. I did not see whether or not they put reinforcement, but at one point I did come here and then I saw that, there were some wires, and they say, well, okay, we've started putting it in, blah, blah, blah. They finish the wall. Whilst they're building the wall, actually, again, I come here and I realize, the plan that I agreed with this guy, there was in the plan like a washing room or something like that, and it was not there. There were 2 beds and 2 bathrooms, but I did not have a room for laundry room. Yes, laundry room. It was not there in this house that they had started building, because now it's taking shape and I see, the rooms and the stuff. I'm new to building, by the way. This was my first project. I had never built before. And at this point, I'm asking him, where is the laundry room? He said, no, remember you said you didn't like something, and I have to change something. He's starting to form stories up, and he was very slick with his tongue. The kind of stuff that he would say, explaining himself. You would immediately say, you know what, I don't even want to keep on arguing. Let me just let this guy do his stuff. Okay. And sorry. They drew the wall, and then now the project is taking longer than they had said it would take. I think it was now 1.5 months and the wall was not complete, and they had told me they will finish everything by the end of 8 weeks. Looking back, they were quite fast. Nobody builds a house in 2 months like a proper normal house, okay? And it was just 2 guys who were building. Not this guy, the owner of the company. He had hired, 2 guys. So there was a lot of things that they were not doing right. Now that I'm almost close to finishing my house, this is another story, because I ended up demolishing that one. Where was I? Okay. So they were quite fast. So they finished the wall, and then they started the roofing. I had now decided that I'm going back to Czech Republic, so I think I was left with about a week. So I wanted them to finish before I go. They finish the roofing, and then I tell them to stop, because I see that with the roofing, before they did the roofing, there's no ring beam, right? There's no ring beam. That's number one. And on their plan, I don't know if it was a plan or whatever, the plan of the structure, there was some kind of sort of plan on the structure, yes. They had stated that there's going to be a ring beam. I don't know much about construction, but from what I saw, I was like, okay, they said there's going to be a ring beam. There's no ring beam. What's a ring beam? I Google, it's, that thing that goes above the windows. And so I said, stop, I need to involve an engineer, because I don't understand what you're doing. And at this point, I've also realized that there was no council approved plan. They used one of their old plans, somebody else's house that they had built. They used that plan to build on my house, not considering the kind of soil on my plot, or the dimensions of my plot, if that house should be in that corner or where it should be. They just did whatever they wanted, okay? There was no council approved plan. They said to me, well, we were using a plan that was approved before. That's what we meant, not taking your plan. Anyway, it's just a lot of, arguments at this point, and I said, well, you need to stop. I need to involve an engineer. I sent them an email to stop, and actually a letter for them to stop, because I said, if I just say it by mouth, is that weight against mine later on? I call an engineer, and he looks at the house from the foundation. He says the foundation looks wobbly on top. I don't think there was any reinforcement done. And then he dug, and he said, well, I do see that, on above the bricks, on the bricks, there was a brick force put, but on the foundation, right on top, there was no reinforcement. And then he looks at the wall, he's just like, poor workmanship, the kind of the thing, they put just a little bit of cement and used a lot of soil in between the bricks. The bricks were of poor quality. The roof, he said the roof was saggy. There was no ring beam as I had seen. And then he says to me, well, my first recommendation is that you destroy the whole house and then start afresh. At this point, I think when I involved the structural engineer, I had actually left. I was now in Czech Republic, but I told them to stop before I leave so that I can involve the engineer. I contacted the engineer when I was in Czech Republic, and he basically, that's what he told me, you need to destroy the house. When I tell you that I was stressed out, okay. I stayed home for 7 months. I had no strength. So much had happened, I was tired before I started the whole process of building emotionally after my residency training, which was horrible. Now I was done, okay. I stayed in the house for 7 months in Czech Republic. Looking back, I was very depressed, okay. I stayed in the house. I'm trying to contact lawyers. Every lawyer that I contact is like, well, send me 5,000 for my opinion. I was like, 5,000 for your opinion? Your opinion? Anyway, I understand that's how much they charge, but I was done. These guys had taken my money. Now I'm left with a house that I have to demolish. Okay? I am left with a house that I was demolishing. Everybody that I was trying to ask for help said, give me some money and I'll do this. Give me some money and I'll do this. And after a while, I just said, you know what, I'm going to let this go. I'll see what to do with this house when I get back home, whenever I get home. Let me just take a pause on this whole lawyer thing because none of it is working. I contacted the arbitrators. I tried to send them an email. The person who works at the arbitrators, whatever, the treasurer who's supposed to check things for me or select an arbitrator for me, was not helpful at all. And I heard that she quit her job. It was a mess and I stopped. And I said, I'll see when I get home what I'm going to do with that house. Possibly I'm going to have to demolish and sell the plot. And that was my plan, actually. Demolish, sell the plot, and save up to buy a new house somewhere. Then I don't have to deal with all the stuff that I had dealt with. So this is part one of how I got, I don't know if I should say I got scammed because I gave the people the money. Or should I say I got a bit careless and people took advantage of that. I got a bit careless and people took advantage of me financially and built something that had to be demolished. And on top of that, now I am sending them messages like, hey, by the way, I stopped you before you finished. Can you at least refund some of the money? They said, absolutely no. And I contacted them. It was going back and forth. I would send them messages like, I want my money back. You need to fix the house. They said, there's nothing we're going to fix. As far as we are concerned, the house is proper. The house is well done. We are professionals. We are great. People love us. People praise us all over social media. You are the only one who's complaining. They were difficult to deal with. The owner of the company did not want to listen. He did not listen. I don't think he listens to anyone. And he was just on the defensive mode. Like, there's nothing we're going to fix. I said, but this is what the structural engineer says. Somebody with years of experience. He says, no, he does not know what he's saying. The way that we built that house, it is nice. Every stage, everything that we did is as it should be. And he was set on his word. And he said, we don't owe you anything. We don't have to pay you nothing. Everything is as it's supposed to be. I was disappointed, to be honest with you. I was disappointed by the professionalism or the lack thereof of people on the ground. And yeah, after some time, I just gave up and I said, you know what, I will follow this issue also. Maybe when I'm home, I have the report from the engineer. I have everything that I need if I am to pursue the issue and get back my money because, I was told to demolish the house. So this is the end of part one of how I got scammed. in Botswana trying to build, and yeah, basically lost the money that I had saved up in Czech Republic, all my money, and